Contrary to popular belief, St. Patrick's Day did not originate from drunken Celtics or little angry leprechauns or that unsettling 2001 Disney movie, Luck of the Irish. All of these things have become tradition to us common folk. If you are anything like I was before doing research for this video, you'd be wondering to yourself, why is there a built-in holiday strictly to justify drinking on a weeknight? Well, the real answer is that there isn't. This is not where the origin of St. Patrick's Day began. So what's the real reason for St. Pat's Day? I figured since I couldn't be further from Irish culture, being a United States citizen and growing up in Indiana, 3,500 miles away from the place of origin, I'd be a good source to disciple you in this topic. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna celebrate St. Patrick's Day the way I see fit, factoring in all of the things that I've studied so far. But first, we must establish how this day even became one of the most recognized holidays around the globe. St. Patrick was a real dude. I don't even know how it never occurred to me before thinking of this video idea to look into the real person and what he was known for. Hence the name, he was a Christian that is known for introducing Christianity to Ireland sometime around AD 433. He is not actually from Ireland, but he is known to possibly be British, most likely Scottish. Hopefully for his sake he is Scottish, because Scottish and Irish accents are 10 times cooler than British accents. I'm sorry, England, at least your history is more dominant. Anyway, Patrick was never actually a canonized saint in the Catholic Church. He doesn't even need the legal title of saint, though. Let me tell you what, this brother was cold. When he was only 16 years old, he was kidnapped by Irish pirates and sold into slavery. He served 6 years on the island in charge of livestock before he eventually escaped on a ship back to Great Britain. Since he grew up with a father that served as a church deacon, Patrick's faith only grew from his trials. His foundation with Jesus kept him grounded and hopeful during his grueling years of slavery. Back in Britain, Patrick had a revelation, a dream that came to him, that he was supposed to return to Ireland to spread the gospel. Unlike most of us that would have brushed the dream off and acted like it was just a crazy coincidence because we were too scared to return, Patrick studied for 15 years as a priest before he returned to Ireland. Though he was hesitant, he took up his calling and returned to the same forsaken land that had snatched him up like a flat screen TV on Black Friday. Many were baptized and converted, jump-starting the revolution that would eventually make Ireland a Christian nation. It's said that he once baptized over 100 people in a single day. There's also a legend about how he used the famous three-leaf clover to describe the Holy Trinity. That's where the tradition of the shamrock originates. He's also known for trampling over the snakes on the island. Now, this might be more of a metaphor. Snakes were most likely extinct before Pat ever even arrived there. The snakes that Patrick drove out was most likely referring to the pagan culture. This holiday is a lot more fun to learn about than I figured it would be. I'm sorry for thinking so small of you, leprechauns. Before Patrick came along, the Emerald Isle was a pagan land. They were people of polytheism and druidism. Polytheism is the belief of multiple gods, where monotheism is the belief of one. Now, Celtic polytheism umbrellaed the belief of druidry. Druidism, if I'm saying that right, is the belief of spirits of nature and place. This religion comes with all sorts of varying differences, but it all points to a divine essence of nature. Then Christianity came in and stole the show. A national awakening of monotheism was introduced by a sum of missionaries in the 5th century, led by none other than St. Patrick. There's a possibility that Christianity was already known on the island, but then Patrick came in and discipled a lot of them, ministered to them, leading to massive growth. Early Irish Christians adopted a lot of the Roman Catholic practices, such as baptism, confession, and communion. Only 200 years after St. Patrick arrived, almost all of Ireland was Roman Catholic. Let me shed my bias for a second. I am a Protestant. I just go to a Christian church. Catholics, give me a second before you start looking in your recommended section for the next video to watch. I love this history, man. I think there are both Protestants and Catholics alike that love Jesus genuinely and do their diligence to follow him. Maybe I'll get bashed by both sides in the comments, but you guys are clowns. Sorry, Catholics, I don't think that Peter was the first pope. Sorry, fellow Protestants. A lot of the hymns we sing, and a lot of the contemporary stuff too, does not actually align with the doctrine doctrine of the Bible. Also, calling yourself non-denominational is literally a denomination in itself. We all have issues. Can we start having sharpening theological discussion while acknowledging that both sides can love Jesus?
Nope.
I'm sorry for this side tangent. Anyway, the date of the tradition falls on March 17th because that is the believed death date of St. Patrick. May he rest in peace. Isn't it kind of wild that he never knew that the work that the Spirit would do through him would still be known 1,000 years later and celebrated? It really is a cool thing. Though we can still find the roots of the tradition sprinkled in here and there, we must look at how the holiday is actually celebrated today. Now, St. Patrick's Day is celebrated by wearing green and physically discriminating against those who don't. You are literally encouraged to assault the people that aren't wearing green by pinching them.
Ow! What are you doing? It's not even St. Patrick's Day. And you don't have a drop of green on you.
It's actually kind of funny. St. Patrick's Day is also known for drinking the night away at a pub. While these traditions bring a lot of joy, it has lost its roots. Before the 1970s, Irish pubs weren't even open on St. Patrick's Day. It was seen as sacred. The Irish government only began pushing the holiday to drive tourism 25 years later in 1995. Therefore, how we celebrate the holiday today has really only started as of recent. St. Patrick's Day is the one day in the middle of Lent that some people pause their abstinence to eat and drink whatever they want. I'm not saying all practicing Catholics pause their abstinence of Lent to do this. That's not what I'm saying at all. But those of you that do, isn't that kind of cheap? The point of Lent is to abstain from a certain thing to grow deeper with God. It's only 40 days. You don't need a cheat day, my boy. I don't even participate in Lent, so I'm being very judgmental right now. If you use St. Patrick's Day as a cheat day, I'm not judging. Who am I to talk? But it is a little bit cheap. Here's a side note though. Lent is something I actually really appreciate about Roman Catholicism. I think it'd be good discipline for a lot of us Protestants to pick up on. Anyway, the cheat day could be the reason why the common Irish folk is seen as a drunkard. Most Celtics don't go out drinking every night, but the one night a year that us Americans pay attention to them is the night that they all plan to go out and bar crawl. Just bad timing, I guess. The holiday is also seen as a way for the rest of the world to show appreciation for Ireland. The US actually hosted the first ever St. Patrick's Day parade back in 1601 in St. Augustine, Florida. Ireland didn't even follow suit with their own parade being in 1903, over 300 years later. Next week, you'll see the Empire State Building in New York City lit up green for the special occasion. A little further west, Chicago even dyes their river green, which is insane, by the way. It looks as if one of Dr. Doofenshmirtz's hundreds of schemes finally paid off. At the end of the day, I'm not telling you how to spend the holiday, because all of us have different beliefs. But if you're Irish, give some thought into the rich history of it all while you're in between drinks. If you're Christian, you should most definitely give some thought into the beauty of this story. St. Patrick really lived out Matthew 28 verse 19. He really set the standard for why there's no real excuse that all of us can't go out and make disciples of all nations. You might ask, why am I sharing all of this? If you're anything like me, whenever you find out a random historical or scientific fact, your gut instinct is to run out and tell as many people as you can. Like whenever I find out something new that comes out about how velociraptors lived and how they looked. Anyway, I asked a few people in my life if they knew the reason for the lucky season. My mom knew a fraction of the story. She knew a little bit. My fiance, as well as a couple of my friends, knew absolutely nothing about it. And that's okay. That's not a jab at them. I didn't know anything either, and that's why I'm making this video. I really do hope that you guys have taken something from it. So now leprechauns and leprechaunettes, Celtics and Celtettes, that's not working. I'm here to show you how an American celebrates St. Patrick's Day. First things first, I asked my fiance if she wanted to get a fun little drink. Of course, she took up my offer. I know there's a stereotype about how Ireland always has rainy weather, so the vibe for this day was perfect. America is infamously known for their harsh legal drinking age of 21. That means we can be drafted for war before legally poisoning our bodies with alcohol. Kira's choice wine was a couple of green bug juice, which was an old childhood classic. I scoped out my options and finally decided on a Mountain Dew. They are intriguingly green, after all. We got back to the crib and finally got to crack open our bottles. Kira even snatched up my drink to try it without my consent. Alfred was not digging the green drink, so he walked away in disgust. He came back though, because he was enjoying the celebration. Since I had this green box sitting around already, I decided to bite the bullet and see if I could catch myself a leprechaun. I never tried this as a kid, but it's never too late to start. My cat wanted in on the action, considering she wanted that leprechaun to be her dinner for the night. Time to build. I was gonna screw these wooden pieces together, but my Milwaukee Impact was at my workplace. This tape really did the job though. It was time to use a Sharpie to write a clever note to trick the leprechaun. And our sign's done. I said to myself that I actually think this is gonna work. We all know leprechauns love money, even though it is the root of all evil, so this should lure them in. Time for the finishing touch. I started cleaning up, and now it's just time to wait. Finally, I wanted to celebrate the holiday how Patrick would have wanted. I gathered with some friends to study the subject. It was really nice to sit down and explain what I had learned through my study, and then hear others' insight. This was a cool moment to gear up and equip ourselves for potential conversations regarding making disciples and baptizing them. We found some verses that we thought related well to Ireland's backstory. Patrick may never get the official title of saint, but he sure as heck did a lot of great things for the kingdom of God.